Hey, what's up you guys, it's Connor, and I'm here with Nanook, because he already knew that we were going to be talking about a dog book today. Do you want a treat? I love you, puppy. You want to go for a walk? After this. Today I'm going to be doing a book review on Will's Red Coat by Tom Ryan. If you guys don't know, Tom Ryan is the author of Following Atticus, which I read and reviewed earlier this year, which I'll leave that up in the card symbol and you can check it out if you want to. And in Following Atticus, it follows Tom and his dog Atticus living together and learning and growing together and really connecting with nature. In that book, they decide that they're going to hike the 48 peaks that are over 4,000 feet in New Hampshire to raise money for cancer and cancer research and cancer awareness. And it follows their struggles while doing that, as well as, you know, just them living and loving each other, etc. This book is a little bit of a sequel to that book, but really nothing I'm going to be talking about in this will spoil anything that happens in Following Atticus. And if you guys didn't know about Tom Ryan or Atticus or Will, then you should probably get on that, because they have a lot of adventures with nature and such. He's got like over 250,000 followers on Facebook, and he updates and people update there regularly, so it's a really fun time because I have been scrolling through his Facebook feed and seeing all the videos and stuff that they post, and it's just a really good way to keep up with this author. Anyway, Will's Red Coat is about Tom deciding to take in an elderly dog named Will. He was abandoned at an animal shelter, and he was 15 when he was abandoned, so he was not going to last very long and people didn't really want him. He ended up getting rescued by a miniature schnauzer rescue group, and then Tom eventually decides to adopt Will and bring him into his and Atticus's home. He decides that he's going to give Will the best amount of time that he has left and really give Will something that he's been lacking, which is love and affection and understanding, acceptance, really. As usual with my book reviews, I'm going to go through my pros, give you my cons, give you my rating, and be done. My first and biggest pro is just going to be Tom's dedication to Atticus and Will. His immense amount of love for his dogs is completely apparent and obvious, but the amount that he is willing to go for his pets and the amount of love that he has is really what every owner should aspire to have with his or her animals, whatever type of animal that they are. Giving them a secure place to be themselves and develop, and encouraging them to be happy and facilitating that is really what we're here for as owners, and to teach them things as well as learn things from them. It's just a very symbiotic relationship and a very important one, and you can really tell that Tom feels that. I really liked learning about all of Will's little isms. It was one of my favorite parts about Following Atticus, was learning about how smart and independent Atticus was, and learning about Tom and Atticus figuring out their relationship at the very beginning and what the rules were gonna be. I loved reading about that, and so I ended up really loving reading about that with him and Will, as well as the elements between Atticus and Will, and how Atticus really doesn't care about Will very much and he just wants to do his own thing, but he really just tolerates Will, and how Will doesn't trust anyone at first and he's trying to bite Tom, and then his obsession with flowers and smelling flowers because he's deaf and partially blind. Just all of Will's quirks, I just really liked reading about those, and I ended up going on to the Facebook page to find some of the videos of Will listening to music and really experiencing life through smell and vibrations because he is deaf. He feels the music through speakers that are put near him. I also like that Tom didn't take his experience with Atticus and try to apply it to his experience with Will. He quickly realized that that was not going to work, and he adjusted his life to allow Will to fit perfectly into place. And again, Atticus's tolerance of Will makes me laugh, because a dog named Cooper, which has been on my channel before, but Cooper literally only tolerates Nook. She doesn't even really like him that much, and Nook just really loves Cooper, but she just doesn't love him. So seeing Atticus not really care that much, but really care when it mattered, was really awesome, and I just loved reading about that whole dynamic, basically. Tom Ryan used to be the editor of a newspaper, and because of that, Tom's writing is phenomenal. It's just so easy to read. It's very simple, it's very direct, but it's so atmospheric and vivid. I can definitely picture everything that he's talking about in my mind. When he's talking about hiking on mountains and he's describing his scenery, or the situation between Atticus and Will interacting with other animals and everything like that, I can picture everything so perfectly. And his writing really really lent to me getting more invested in this book than I did in the first book for some reason. The way that he placed certain tidbits about his past or about other people's pasts and how he ended up weaving them into his current situation with Will was really well done, and his ability to weave a narrative is fantastic. I also like that his writing was a lot less repetitive than it was in Following Atticus, so I liked that improvement. With this one, it got me choked up at parts. I was a lot more invested, as I said already. I got teary-eyed and my throat would close when I was reading about sad parts, but it was really balanced with funny parts talking about their quirks, as well as with the spiritual talk about the healing properties of nature and everything. That being said, this book is also very nature driven, which I appreciated in the first book as well. It really talks a lot about being more connected with nature and how nature can breathe new life into you if you allow it to. And so I really like that because I like to go on long walks / hikes with Nook, and I definitely agree that it's just such a healing thing to do, and it's just one of those things that once you get used to having it, you like need it in your life. And the last thing I'm going to talk about pro-wise for this book, there's more, but I just don't have the time to talk about all of them, is that I love how connected Tom is with his followers. He allows them to really get invested in his life and in Will's life and in Atticus and now Samwise, because since this book was written, Will and Atticus have both passed away, and he has a new dog named Samwise now. So if you want to check out Samwise, I'll leave a link down in the description to his Facebook page, but he is very connected with the people through Facebook, and he ends up meeting people through that, and people sent gifts to Will, and I just really like how interactive he is. He takes the time to step away and do his own thing, but he also opens himself up to touch so many other lives and allow Atticus and Will to touch so many other people's lives and influence their lives in a positive way. Yeah, A+ for that. Now I'm going to talk about some of my cons. My first con is just a formatting thing, which I don't think Tom Ryan has any control over, but the book has some pictures in it, which is how Following Atticus was, and I really like the pictures. Like, they're really fun pictures that I really appreciated. I'm just going to show you one more, but I wish that the pictures were better placed throughout the novel. So he'll talk about a picture, and sometimes it ends up in the pictures that are in here, but sometimes it doesn't, and I wish that the times that it did, it would be placed in the spot of the book that it's talked about so that it has more of an impact. And also, because the pictures are all in one go, some of the pictures are about things that happen in the last part of the book, and that was the hardest part for me to read emotionally. I don't want to say that it spoiled it, but it kind of did, because you know certain things that are going to happen, and so when you read about them, they're not as awe-inspiring. They're still sad and emotional, but they're just not as impactful as they could be if the pictures were better placed. I also remember in the process of reading this, I had a couple of times where I would stop and think that this book was mainly about Atticus and not really about Will. There's definitely portions of this book that are fully dedicated to talking about Atticus, and I mean, I love Atticus. He was such an interesting and awesome dog, and I mean, just awesome being, really, but I expected more of the book to be about Will. It does even out in the end, so I do really think that this book was about Will and is about Will's chapter in Tom's journey, I guess, and the ending chapters of Will's journey. But at some points I was like, well, where's Will? Because all we're hearing about is Tom and Atticus. I want to hear about Will. So I think Will could have been better sprinkled into the Atticus moments so that it was more cohesive through the whole thing. And the only con that I have, which I know is such a stupid con, but this book actually comes out today at the time that I'm posting this video, but it almost feels a little bit like old news. Atticus passed away last year, and the happenings of this book happened even before that, like years ago. So I almost feel like I'm not very current. I mean, I didn't even read Following Atticus until this year, so I wasn't even current back then. But I almost wish that this book would be up until, you know, something more recent than at least 2 years ago. And again, the best way to keep up with them is on Facebook, and I've been really bad about doing that because I don't really go on Facebook very much, but now I'm going to, so I can stay current, because I'm now really invested in what they're up to, and especially because he talks about Lord of the Rings all the time in this. Like, there's a bear named Aragorn, and his new dog is named Samwise, which is funny because my first dog when I was a kid and like had a family dog, his name was Sam, and I used to call him Samwise. So again, Facebook is the best way to keep up with Tom Ryan's adventures, but I wish that this had covered a little bit more or been published earlier, if that makes sense. But I know also that Tom's had some major health problems within the last amount of time. And so I know that really pushed this book back from being published earlier. But if you didn't know that, which I didn't know until I started looking it up, then it would affect your reading experience because you'd read this and then find out that this actually happened a long time ago. So overall, I really enjoyed this novel. I really enjoyed learning about Will and his experiences and him deciding to live again. I really liked learning more about Atticus and Tom as the years have gone on and really catching up with them since the events of Following Atticus. I think if you're a dog lover, you like reading books that have dogs in them, this is an absolutely amazing one, and I definitely recommend it. I ended up giving this book 4.5 stars because I was a lot more invested in it than I was in Following Atticus, and I enjoyed myself immensely while reading it. So that's going to be my review on Will's Red Coat by Tom Ryan. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up and comment down below if you follow Tom Ryan on Facebook. Are you interested in reading Will's Red Coat? Are you going to pick it up? Have you read Following Atticus? Anything you want me to know, leave it down below, and I will talk to you guys next time.